Thank you very, very much. It's great to be here with all of you today. I want to thank your president, Harold Shapeberger, for your gracious introduction, Harold. Thank you for helping us every step of the way in Maryland. You are so well served by having somebody of Harold Shapeberger's caliber at the helm of your organization in these times. As Harold told you, my name is Martin O'Malley, and I bring you greetings from Baltimore, the original land of the free and the home of the brave, birthplace of the Star-Spangled Banner, where we've been doing Homeland Security since 1814. I want to thank all of you for what you do for all of us every day, really for answering the call in your heart to serve and to protect. And I want to thank you for showing up without condition whenever the people of our country have to dial 911. There is no more important work in our country today than the work that all of you do as first responders. And so I especially want to thank all of the hardworking men and women who are here today from the great state of Maryland, or are they in the green room? But they've done outstanding work in our state, and all of us in Maryland are indebted to them. Today, I want to talk with you about the connection, really, between public safety and our economic security, because the two actually go hand in hand. This month, just a few days ago, our Congress tied itself into knots, not over how much to fund Homeland Security, but whether or not to even fund the Department of Homeland Security at all. Scores of congressional Republicans said, oh, they wholeheartedly support the Department of Homeland Security, but they voted, nonetheless, to shut it down in order to protest any sort of immigration reform. There are two very important things that you did not hear from any of today's Republican speakers. One is a commitment to collective bargaining. And the second is a commitment to increasing funding for public safety, particularly federal funding. All of the Republican leaders you heard from today are opposed to collective bargaining. Collective bargaining, you see, runs contrary to their belief that keeping wages low somehow makes America's economy better. We've now suffered 12 years in a row of declining wages thanks to that brand of voodoo economics. The second commitment they cannot make with any credibility is that they will increase our federal commitment to first responders and public safety. Because once again, this runs contrary to their ideological belief that government is the problem and that our government must be dismantled, limited, reduced, as quickly as possible, everywhere possible. Their prescription is shutdowns, sequester cuts, tax cuts on top of tax cuts for the super wealthy, and the banning of public safety unions. All of this at a time when the safety of average Americans in our homeland has never been under greater threat. When someone dials 911 and you show up to run into a burning building, have you ever once had a citizen say to you, no thanks, I believe that government is the problem? Here's what I believe. I believe that you don't play games with public safety. I believe that you don't play games with people's lives. Not now and not ever. As mayor of Baltimore and as governor of Maryland, I believe that my foremost duty was to protect public safety by backing you up with the tools and the equipment that you need to save the lives of others. As governor, I saw to it that Maryland worked every day to become a leader in homeland security and emergency preparedness. As Harold mentioned, in tough budget times, we nonetheless made the big investments, and we stuck with them every year to build out a statewide interoperable radio system. While some urged us to privatize Maryland's nation-leading shock trauma helicopters, instead, and in tough times, we invested in a brand new state-of-the-art helicopter fleet for our nation-leading shock trauma system. We invested in a new CAD and Osprey systems to better connect data and video feeds to you, our first responders, in real time, when you need them and where you need them. And of course, public safety, though, is about much more than just the tactics and the tools. It begins with you. It's not possible without you, in fact. It begins with the men and women who do this vital work. As governor, I proposed for and fought for and signed into law the Firefighters Cancer Presumption Bill. And as you know, this law makes sure that if you risk your life and your health to save us, we stand behind you, and we stand behind your families if you get sick. I also signed a law to protect needlessly endangering the lives of occupants or first responders by preventing local governments in Maryland from weakening standards for fire sprinkler systems and safety. And while unions have been under attack in Ohio, in Wisconsin, and states all across our country, in Maryland, I stood up for collective bargaining rights for firefighters, for first responders, and for all public servants in our state. In fact, we actually expanded public employees covered by collective bargaining in Maryland over these last 8 years. We passed a Fair Share Act so that unions can do their job representing the voices of their members. In Wisconsin and other states, but in Wisconsin most recently, right-wing ideologues just took action to wipe out unions in their state. Now that might be good policy for the Koch brothers, but it's bad for our economy, it's bad for firefighters, and it's bad for the working people of the United States of America. You see, a strong America really does require a public safety that protects us all and economic opportunity that lifts us all. As a nation, here's the good news. We've now actually achieved, by making better choices, 60 months in a row, 5 consecutive years in a row of month-over-month positive job creation. That's the good news. But here's the bad news, and you know this. The vast majority of us seem all to be working harder, only to watch our families slipping further behind. And you've seen the look in your neighbor's eyes, and so have I. There is a pessimism that has penetrated deeply into our collective consciousness as Americans, and it is not without reason. For too many of us, the dream of things that could be and once were seem to be slipping from our grasp. It used to be that if you worked harder, you earned higher wages. But over the last 12 years, wages in our country have actually been going down. Get this. 50 years ago, the nation's largest employer was GM. An average GM employee could pay for a year's tuition at a state university with 2 weeks' wages. Not long ago, the Washington Times ran a story with the headline, and I'm quoting, American dream is dead. Well, let us say to the pundits writing these premature obituaries, the American dream is not dead. The American dream will never die on our watch because we choose to fight and we intend to win. And what does that mean? That means just like our parents and grandparents, we have to take stronger actions to make that dream come true. It means we must fight for better wages for all workers so that Americans can live again on what they earn. And that means raising the minimum wage, expanding eligibility for overtime pay, and respecting the rights of all workers to organize and collectively bargain. To make the dream come true again, we must expand and not reduce Social Security benefits. What the hell do these other guys think they're creating for senior citizens in America? They're wiping out pensions today and wiping out Social Security tomorrow? What sort of country does that leave to our kids? And if a bank is too big to fail without harming the common good of our nation, then it's too big and we must break it up before it breaks us. To make the American dream true again, our federal government must be a full partner with cities and states in funding public safety and homeland security. Making do with less is not an aspiration worthy of a great people. My friends, we are Americans, and we make our own destiny. And the future that we choose is a safer future. It is a more prosperous future, and it's a better future for our children. You do one of the toughest jobs in America. And when tragedy strikes, when disasters happen, when there's an attack, and citizens call 911, you are the men and women who answer that call. And you deserve leaders who will back you up. You deserve leaders who will make the necessary investments to protect your lives. You deserve leaders who will protect the well-being and security of your families. And you deserve leaders who have enough respect for the risk that you take to stand up for your right to be heard, to stand up for your right to collectively bargain, and to look you in the eye and treat you with the dignity and respect that your higher calling deserves. Thank you for keeping America safe, and may God bless you and protect your families. Thank you.